My beloved wife cheated on me and my daughter isn't mine. How can I move forward as well as shake angry feelings? The duration of this discussion will be considerable. My wife and I have been married for 21 years at the time of writing. My assumption was that it was one of those miracle marriages since we never argued. I seem to be the best of friends with her and so on. Our 15-year-old daughter received a 23 and the item as a birthday gift from a friend. We weren't connected, according to the information provided. She had me do a swab as well as her mother and her 14-year-old brother. She and I were the only ones who looked to be connected, except from her brother. So I went ahead and had a paternity test done, and lo and behold, she was not my daughter. My ex-wife cried and pleaded for me to pay attention to her, but I had become indifferent to her pleadings and pleas. It's one thing to lie, but learning that the source of my life's elimination was not even slightly related to me was devastating. Don't get me wrong, I love my kid to the extreme. It doesn't matter what, she is still my daughter. My allegedly malicious impulses, on the other hand, are what I'm most afraid of. I've never been like this before, and I know it's because I'm upset, but I really don't want her to suffer any longer than she has to. The kids loathe her to the very core of their being. However, I am aware that she is still their mother, and I do not want them to resent her in the process. Her mother, father, and siblings are all mortified by her behavior. Her sister hasn't been in touch with her in a few months. We all grew up together, so it hit hard for everyone. Again, this makes me feel incredible, which makes me apprehensive since I don't want her life to be in shambles. But I can't help but smile when I realize that something in her life is about to come crashing down around her. Both of my children are now living with me since they do not have a positive opinion of their mother at this time. Because they are now refusing to speak with her, I am considering having the chat with them about this matter. That my daughter seems to be overcompensating for her daughterly obligations is the component of this situation that breaks my heart the worst. She expresses her affection for me on a consistent basis and is in many ways the perfect daughter. But I can tell she's doing it because she knows she's not biologically my mother, but she has to express to me how much she loves me as soon as possible. I'm going to talk to her about it as soon as I get home tonight, advising her that she is under no obligation to alter her behavior. I just want to know how to get rid of the feelings of despair and rage and vengeance that I'm experiencing. So that my children do not have to worry about school and adolescence, I want to continue to aid them in their future endeavors. Please, any advice you could provide me would be much appreciated. Story 2. Mom, 40 female, cheated on step. Dad, 45 male, and ruined my 16 male and my siblings' lives. I am a 16-year-old man. I have 2 sisters, 10 female, 8 female. Our biological father never existed in our lives. He abandoned my mother when she was pregnant with me, then returned 6 years later, saying he wanted to make peace and that we could be a happy family. My mother instantly began to express her feelings for him, but he departed once she became pregnant again. When he returned 2 years later, I sobbed and begged my mother not to allow him back into our life because I despised him. He claimed the same thing. My mother also said she loved him, and then he left once she became pregnant again. My mother worked as a server, so the 4 of us shared a modest 1-bedroom apartment. Because my mother was constantly working, I was effectively another parent to my sisters. We wouldn't eat breakfast or supper on occasion since we couldn't afford it. Other times, I refused to eat so that my sisters could eat. A year after my youngest sister was born, my mother found another guy, 45 male. He's a wonderful dude. His wife and daughter had perished in an accident while he was in his 20s. When he was ready to date again, he met my mother. He's a wonderful guy who treated us as if we were his own children, and I consider him to be my father. He was very rich and controlled a number of enterprises. We soon moved into his massive mansion-style home. There was also a better school for me. We 3 siblings got our own rooms, and I acquired nicer clothing and played video games for the first time in my life, among other things. He taught me stuff and assisted me in catching up in school, since I had struggled in the prior school. He spent a significant amount of time with the 3 of us. My sisters gradually began referring to him as Dad. I arrived soon after. When we called him Dad for the first time, I remember him sobbing, holding us, and telling us he loved us. They ultimately married, and my father asked me to be one of his groomsmen, which I gladly accepted, while my sisters served as my mother's bridesmaids. Mom remained at home to look after us. They seemed to be really happy together, as far as I knew. They went on dates at least once every 2 weeks, kissed constantly, and always told each other how much they loved each other. He was also aware of Mom's background and saw that she needed help, so he sent her to a therapist. I was overjoyed that my mother had finally met someone who cared about her. I was also overjoyed for myself and my siblings, and I adored him. He also said that he would pay for all three of us to attend college. My ambition has always been to become a doctor, and I never believed it would be feasible since it was so costly, so I was overjoyed. Mom also told me how fortunate she was to have met him, how much she loves him, and how much he has improved her in our life. So in July of last year, my father learned that my mother was having an affair with his closest friend, who also happened to be the best man at their wedding. I'm not sure how long the affair lasted. Mom sobbed and pleaded with him to give her another opportunity. Understandably, he did not. He allowed us to retain all of the new items, including clothing for myself and toys for my sisters. When I went to him, weeping, and asked him why he was leaving us, he just held me and informed me about Mom's affair. He said that the affair was too terrible for him and that he could no longer be in this marriage, but he also stated that he loved me and my sisters. My sisters are unaware of the affair, and I doubt they will understand. He secured a prenuptial agreement, so Mom didn't receive anything that wasn't hers. Dad only had to pay for a new apartment until the divorce was finalized. We lived in a good apartment until the divorce was finalized, at which point we moved into a much smaller apartment. I attempted to contact him, but he does not seem to be interested in a connection with me. He has never replied to any of my texts. I sent him a farewell letter in December of last year, thanking him for all Dad done for me and my sisters and telling him how much I loved him and will remember him forever. So we're back in a one-bedroom apartment, missing meals, and barely making ends meet. I'm currently sleeping on the floor. My sisters share a bed while my mother sleeps in another. Mom is working as a waitress once again. I've also worked part-time at a grocery shop to supplement my income. I absolutely despise my mother right now. I simply accepted the job to assist my sisters. I've also stopped talking to my mother. She recently came to me weeping, saying she was sorry for wrecking everything and that she needed me to speak to her. I simply sobbed and stated I don't get it. Why did you deceive him? He was really attentive to you and the three of us. He was also planning to send us to college. I was happy for the first time in my life. You have ruined my life. Why? Do you have to wreck everything all the time? You've done it twice before when you reintroduced bio father into my life. I despise you. I never want to speak with you again. She burst out weeping when I said that. I'll confess that what I said was somewhat nasty, but I was in a bad mood at the moment. I really despise her right now. I really hope she dies in excruciating agony. These are the only things going through my mind. It's driving me mad, and I'm well aware that this is not normal. I heard on the internet that counseling may be beneficial, but we can't afford food on most days, therefore we don't have insurance. I can't stop thinking about how she wrecked everything. He didn't even make a big request. Mom was enjoying a lavish lifestyle and was only at home caring for her biological children. I simply miss him terribly. Even my sister is constantly wondering when they'll be able to return home or see their father again. They'd also begun sobbing and asking for their father a lot. In the last year, I'm at a loss on what to do now. I'm so annoyed and furious about everything. I wish I could leave here, but who would look after my siblings if I did? That foolish mother is incapable of doing. I think I'm here because I need some assistance. I'm at a loss on what to do. Some days I'm just exhausted and don't want to accomplish anything. Other days I simply wish I died and this was over. Thank you very much.